Hey there, folks. This is Misadventure, and today we are celebrating 500 subscribers on the YouTube channel. Folks, I am just absolutely floored that I can say that today. It's been a tremendous honor to be able to work on this channel and to have an audience as interested as mine has been, especially given how extremely niche both the channel's focus has been on both Imperator Rome Let's Plays and mashup rap music, which are two areas that I think have no overlap in the universe, except for me personally, who likes both of those things, obviously. If you're one of the rare people that are really into both those things as well, then let me know in the comments. I'd love to know that other people have my same weird specific combination of interests. Whatever the case, whatever's brought you here, whether you're a current subscriber, a past subscriber, or just a curious onlooker, thank you so much for giving me your time and choosing to watch my content. It really means a lot to me, especially because I view this channel as a very authentic representation of who I am as a person. I don't really have a YouTuber persona that I'm putting on. This is just who I am, which you may be alarmed to hear given my content, but I'm myself here, and part of that is because in my personal life, I'm a lawyer, so in my job, I can't really be myself. I have to be a very particular kind of version of myself for professional reasons. So this channel gives me a place to be more authentic, and I feel like that authenticity is something I was nervous early on to share with everybody. But people have not only really liked my content, people have liked how I do my content. They've liked my over analyzation of things. They've liked my kind of obsessive approach to unpacking Imperator Rome. And I've seen people actually really connect with that. And that's more than anything else in my life given me a lot of confidence about who I am. That my weird obsessiveness about understanding everything in this game in order to master it is not something I need to be, concerned about and afraid of or ashamed of or sort of discreet about. But it's something that people could connect with and make them love this game more the way that it's made me love this game more. And honestly, the greatest honor I could feel with this channel is to know that I've reignited someone's interest in Imperator Rome, because ultimately I think this game is unfairly maligned, especially by the Paradox community, who largely still see it for its 1.0 version, faults and flaws, and they don't really see how it's improved over time, even without Paradox really actively developing it. Especially with the help of a few mods, it can really become just an incredible experience. And I feel so honored that I've had even a small role in this game's continued, little hardcore fan base, continuing to have interest in it on the Imperator subreddit and elsewhere. So whatever happens in the future with Imperator Rome, whatever happens with this channel in the future, I'm always going to feel really honored that I had even a small role to play in people continuing to consume Imperator Rome related content. And yeah, I hope to continue to represent this game to the best of my ability and showcase the best parts of it in my future content. I'm certainly not going to be moving on from Imperator Rome anytime soon. That's a promise. And yeah, I just wanted to thank all of you sort of along those lines. And then I wanted to do two other things in this video. The first thing I wanted to do is share some deep misadventure lore about my past YouTube channels, and some of you may have already figured out just through having a good memory about perhaps a previous YouTube channel that I ran a few years ago, which was deleted before the Misadventure channel came into existence. I wanted to kind of share that just in case my general audience remembers that channel. There might be kind of a nostalgia burst for those of you that do. But the second thing I wanted to do is actually watch my first released episode ever, which was the first episode of the Akenia campaign, which I titled Donwyn's Gamble. And I have the video file open on the screen in front of me. You can see it as well. And I wanted to kind of just watch the opening of this episode to see how my episode 1 openings were at the very beginning of the channel. I suspect that there's going to be some differences in my voice, differences in my the way I talk, my confidence level on the microphone. But I also suspect there's going to be some commonalities. I think that I probably haven't changed as much as I might think I have. And it'll be interesting to hear a few years ago, 2021 Misadventurer, and how he approaches talking about beginning this YouTube series and channel and whatnot. So that's going to be kind of a fun little nostalgic look back on where it all started. when I had 0 subscribers. So, so first of all, the misadventure lore. Well, I had a YouTube channel. Actually, I've had a couple YouTube channels over the years. The first YouTube channel I ever made was back when I was in high school, and I believe it was called Two Clams. And I don't think anyone who watches this current content would have been a subscriber. I don't know if I got any subscribers because it was just a high schooler YouTube channel. It was much more of a traditional YouTuber channel back when I had high school, aged dreams of being a YouTuber, back when I was young enough to know or to believe that being a YouTuber was really feasible for just any person, which it's not. But I remember, I don't remember it very well. I made a Skyrim Let's Play, because this was back in the early 2010s when that was a big thing. And I made a Final Fantasy VII PC port Let's Play. And in retrospect, it's really funny because was it Final Fantasy? It was Final Fantasy VII, yeah. The Final Fantasy VII PC port was really bad. I didn't really understand that at the time. So I remember just really hating the controls on keyboard, but that's neither here nor there. I haven't played Final Fantasy in years, but I remember I made those series at the time. And then after that, I didn't really have any consistent YouTube channel until I was in college, back when I was an undergraduate student. And I made a channel, some of you may remember actually, because it was a somewhat, watched channel that was Paradox related. And it was a channel called Quiet Cartographer. I don't know if any of you remember that channel, but I made initially Crusader Kings 2, live Let's Plays, kind of like what I do right now with Imperator Rome on this channel. But my first series was a Viking-themed one, playing as a Norse tribe in Crusader Kings 2. This is before Crusader Kings 3 or Imperator Rome were actually released. So back when I was a big... And I've mentioned my Crusader Kings 2 background a bit before, but I played Crusader Kings 2 for like thousands of hours, and I'm much, much more familiar with it than CK3, although I do like CK3 a lot. But I made that Viking-themed campaign for, I think, like 100 episodes, and then at the time, I was more clearly inspired by one of my favorite YouTubers of all time, Officially Devin, who I've mentioned once or twice on this channel. And I was really inspired by his narrative Let's Play content, which I do recommend people that like my content check out. I have a very, very similar style of humor to him, or at least I hope my humor is similar, because I think he's a very funny YouTuber. I really love dry British humor, and he's very much like a dry British humor guy. As just a slight aside, his This Is Content series of like comedy Let's Plays are some of the funniest videos I've ever seen in my life. I'm trying to think about which one to recommend. I just have to recommend all of them. Stop watching my content and go watch Officially Devin. He's kind of inactive now. He has a couple different channels now, and he doesn't really make content in the same pace he used to in the past, but I'm okay with that. There's a huge backlog, years and years and years of Officially Devin content that I go back to all the time. But whatever the case, I made a narrative Let's Play in Crusader Kings 2. I think the first one I did was God Helming, which was a Crusader Kings 2 narrative Let's Play with a count in England, the God Helming family. And then I made another one using the one of the Spanish nations during the sort of the Muslim occupation of Spain. What was that one called? I can't remember, but whatever the case, I tried out these narrative Let's Plays, and I don't remember the views I got or the subscribers I had, but I remember the channel got a fair amount of attention just because a lot of people wanted to see Crusader Kings narrative Let's Plays because it's such an obvious game for that type of content. And my highlight of my, honestly, life at that point was, and this was all when I was in college, so I was doing this from my dorm room on my terrible laptop at the time before I built my own gaming computer that I have now. But I remember at one point, Officially Devin actually sort of featured my narrative Let's Play in his sort of other channel NLP like highlight playlist, and that was like, I remember literally running into my cafeteria at my school with my laptop, like yelling at my friends, "Officially Devin, put me on his channel!" Like, I was so hyped up, and literally no one in the cafeteria like understood what I was talking about. But it was like the biggest moment of my life, honestly, for basically my YouTuber idol to kind of recognize me and to kind of give me sort of a mark of approval. And I don't know, it's a really fond memory, and I have a lot of fond memories about the Quiet Cartographer channel. Let me know in the comments if you remember that channel or were a watcher at the time, because I'm curious to know what people think about in terms of how they remember me from that time and how they think about me now as a current YouTuber. But yeah, I even at one point had my at the time girlfriend come on with me to do a sort of a co-op of Cuphead. I played Cuphead one time with her, so that was pretty fun as well. Whatever the case, I don't remember exactly what the reason was, but I ended up deciding to stop working on the Quiet Cartographer channel, and it eventually was deleted as well. I don't remember exactly why, and I didn't save any of the videos, and I really regret that because none of the content on the channel was saved anywhere that I can find. Maybe there's some channel which for some reason made like saved versions of those videos on YouTube somewhere. I'll see if I can find that, but I doubt it, and those videos are long gone, sadly. So definitely kind of a sad outcome to a really, nostalgic period of my life, basically. But then I had a brief period where I made. Oh yeah, one other thing too from the Quiet Cartographer era is I actually at one point did a Borderlands Let's Play. And this is personally significant to me because during my Borderlands is one of my favorite game series of all time. I don't think I've ever talked about that on this channel, but during the Borderlands Let's Play, I kind of like, just for no reason at all, decided to come out on that in that series. And at that time, I was still very much in the closet. So that was a big moment for me to come out because I'm bisexual in real life. And that was like a huge moment for me personally because at that time I was still in the closet to a lot of my friends and whatnot. I was really nervous about coming out about that. And ultimately, after the Quiet Cartographer channel, I would come back to YouTube near the end of my time in college and make a channel called Bi Guy 3 because I had this idea that I was going to make a channel branded around being bi. And my whole thinking with that channel was BG3 is a cool sounding like short version of the name, so Bi Guy 3, BG3. I made a Morrowind Let's Play, Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind, which I actually remember liking a lot and being pretty proud of, but that channel also got deleted and is lost forever. Maybe there's a video saved somewhere. The equipment I had when I made that channel, I think I still have around here somewhere now. I was still on that laptop, but whatever the case, after that, I then had a couple years where I didn't, because I graduated college in 2019, and I didn't do any YouTube stuff as I started law school. And then in 2020, I believe, I made the Misadventure channel, but I didn't upload for a bit of time. I think I made the channel on January 1st, 2020, like literally the first day of 2020, because I thought that was kind of cool to make a channel exactly on January 1st. But I didn't start making content because I didn't really know if I wanted to make content. I just wanted to kind of have a new channel for my YouTube usage because I'm a big YouTube watcher. I spend a lot of my free time watching YouTube, including lots of content that I don't really make, content for on my channel. I'm actually, more than any other game, I'm probably a Rust content watcher, like the survival game Rust. I'm a really, really, really big Rust fan. I'm not very good at Rust, so I never want to make content for it, but I watch a lot of Rust YouTubers, which is probably a crossover no one was expecting me to talk about, but I think that my humor on this channel has been more and more influenced by the Rust YouTubers that I watch, including people like SpoonKid, who I picked up a lot of weird particular vocab from that I use in my own content now. So my channel is very much kind of a representation of all of the people that I've watched over the years, whether it's officially Devin and his style of humor or people like SpoonKid and his kind of weird, phraseology and things he says. Whatever the case, in early 2021, I made and released episode 1 of the Akenia campaign, and here we are with the video in the background. I wanted to kind of watch it with all of you and check and see what old Misadventure was like. I'm bracing myself for my voice because my kind of deeper adult YouTuber voice wasn't really developed yet at that point, even though I'd been making content for a few years under different channels. I'm sure if I ever watched my very first videos I ever made in my life, they'd just sound unlistenable. But even a few years ago, I bet my presentation style was not so put together. So let's go ahead and play this together and see exactly what we're dealing with here. Hey there, folks. My name is Misadventure, and welcome to the first episode of my Imperator Rome Let's Play. Imperator Rome. Listen to this little guy. It's so cute. Hey there, folks. Welcome to Imperator Rome. Oh, man. That's great. I love that. Let's see what I have to say. Also, the hey there, folks thing. That's like my little catchphrase. I don't think I ever made a channel called Hey There Folks. I really like the phrase like Hey There Folks, and probably you've noticed, or it's maybe even subconscious. I start every video that I do for YouTube with Hey There Folks. Like that's literally my catchphrase, and it's to the point where if I start a recording and I don't say Hey There Folks, I feel uncomfortable. Like it just feels wrong to me to not say Hey there, folks, and like to like have that intonation. It's like a little ritual to get into YouTuber mode for me. But whatever the case, even in the first episode, I was doing my catchphrase.
As Ikenia. Now, you probably have a couple questions, but first let me just lay out some basic information here at the very start so you know what you're getting into and you feel informed about what you're spending your time watching.
Oh my god, I sound really gay. I think that I'm pretty straight passing, normally speaking. I think more now because my voice is a bit deeper and I just sort of sound more confident. But I sound, like compared to now, I think I just sound kind of effeminate, which is obviously not a bad thing in my opinion. You know, I'm literally bisexual, but it's really funny how like, I don't know. I just always assume that I'm more straight passing than I am. Maybe I'm not straight passing now. Let me know in the comments if your gaydar picked up on my true nature earlier on in my channel's history or whenever you watch my content. But whatever the case, yeah. So far, one thing I appreciate as well about this first video is how like polite I was. I was just like, hey there, I'm making a series. Check it out. I was like, I don't want to waste your time. I want to be polite. Like, don't click off the video, please. Like, I was so self-conscious about making a YouTube video. It's so cute.
Because I don't want you to feel like you're wasting your time on something that you're not going to enjoy. So that's just how I roll. We're playing on the 2.0.3 Marius update for Imperator Rome. This is the current and seemingly permanent version of the game going forward. We will see what Paradox does in regards to this stopping development of the game idea.
Yeah. Sadly, that did not pan out in the better way. I guess technically they did update the game with the anniversary patch, but that's not really that was more like a hot fix than anything else. So, yep, I was calling it there basically.
I actually have a lot to say about Paradox and the way that they do game development, but that may come out later in a rant in the future of this Let's Play. Let's not start things off on that tone, shall we?
Oh my gosh. I sound like somebody that just started law school. Let's not start things off on that tone, shall we? Oh man, I probably shouldn't make fun of my voice too much because I probably sound pretty similar currently, so maybe it's like a kind of like, you know, the Spider-Man pointing meme. But yeah, I think it's funny how much I promised. I think I'd say this later in the video too, that I promised to like reveal my hot takes about Paradox, and I never really did talk about that. And I don't know if I really know what I would have said at the time or what I'd say now. I have mixed feelings, honestly, about Paradox as a company. I think that for, you know, the world of grand strategy as a subgenre of strategy games, Paradox is fine as essentially one of the front runners in terms of like, you know, leading the culture on this particular type of game. And they have variety at the very least. They make so many different kinds of like settings for grand strategy games. So whenever I'm in the mood for like a military sim experience, I can go, you know, crack open Hearts of Iron 3. If I want to play a military sim experience but easy, I'll play Hearts of Iron 4. Sorry folks. I don't mean to, you know, start fights about Hearts of Iron, but Hoi 4 is not the most complicated game on earth, honestly, and Hoi 3 is kind of underrated still. But whatever the case, I probably shouldn't get into that. I don't know enough about the Hoi 3, Hoi 4 comparisons to really make an informed comment about that. I can say for sure that Crusader Kings 2 has some pretty serious problems structurally, which CK3 did address. But I have my own thoughts about CK3 as well. I'm not going to talk about it too much in this video, but needless to say, I do have hot takes about Paradox. Really, my hottest take about Paradox is that, oh man, I don't even know if I should say this, because this is actually quite a serious hot take for an Imperator Rome YouTuber, but honestly, the original version of Imperator Rome with the mana system, not necessarily like the worst game ever, you know? Like, I think that Paradox did improve the game with the changes they made and the removal of mana. And I say mana, if you don't know what I'm talking about. Imperator Rome launched with a Europa Universalis 4 style mana system where you had currencies that were based on the stats of characters. It was kind of a weird system. It was largely meant to be an evolution of EU4. And by removing it, they made the game play very differently, and they changed it quite a bit. I think that the game is definitely better without mana, but I also think that part of the problem with Imperator Rome is they did build it from the ground up with mana in mind. And after they removed the mana, they did their best to kind of reorganize everything. And that's part of why I think Imperator Rome is so complicated. It's a system built around the mana system, and then they change it fundamentally with patch 2.0. Or it wasn't 2.0, it was an earlier patch than that. It might have been 2.0, I don't remember honestly, but the patch that removed the mana, they fundamentally changed the core way this game works, but then they didn't rebuild the game from the ground up around the new design principles. So we end up with this game that is very sort of technically complicated for a modern grand strategy game, and they then sort of get lost in the sauce of how to really adapt it further than that to make it work as like a modern strategy game, and they just kind of give up. And I think that, with CK3 and Victoria 3, they've largely kind of gotten their head back at the game with how to design games like this. But honestly, like the original version of Imperator Rome, I would be interested to see them try a different attempt at that mana style Imperator Rome game. Just, I think that they shouldn't revert this version. Not that they're going to touch this game anyways, but the version of Imperator Rome that we have now, especially with mods unlocking the potential, really is, I think, better than the original version. But I just don't think the original version was truly like a disaster. I think the bigger problem is that the game wasn't a great presentation of those systems. It wasn't as good as EU4 because EU4 had years and years and years of expansions and content to flesh it out. But the problem was when you compared it with EU4, and when you talk about these mana style strategy games, you just can't be better than EU4 on launch. And they shouldn't have. I don't know. I could talk for a long time about how Paradox fumbled Imperator Rome, but honestly, like I said at the start of this video, I hope that my content has helped people give this game another shot, even with its sketchy reputation, thanks to this whole situation with the way it was changed early on. Whatever the case, let's keep going here.
I'm also a brand new YouTuber. Hi there.
Bit of an overstatement there. At this time, I was trying to be more coy about my background in doing YouTube content, but it's true that when I made that statement, I was brand new as Misadventurer, who had not released any videos. But yeah, technically speaking, I was sort of lying to your face with that statement. But it had been a year or two since I'd really done any content on YouTube, so I did kind of consider myself brand new, and I was really approaching it from a new YouTuber point of view when I said that.
This is my first video. It's live, so that's always a good idea for making a video.
I've always hated the way I said that. It's live? Like, I said it like slive. I was trying to say it's like a live video. Like, that's not a great format for a first-time YouTuber. But I guess I wasn't a first-time YouTuber, so the lies and the deceit are just boundless in early Misadventurer content. I've been exposed by myself.
And I may or may not be any good at being a YouTuber, or at playing Imperator Rome, for that matter. We will see about that.
Why did I say it like that? Imperator Rome. I just pronounced every syllable with enormous force. I mean, that's true. I also don't know if I'm still any good at doing YouTube stuff or at playing Imperator Rome. I think I've definitely gotten better at playing Imperator Rome than in my first bit of content. We're not going to go through the whole video to see my early play style. I just wanted to kind of go over my introduction just to kind of comment on my original style of commentary.
I do have over 200 hours with the game, but that's just enough to feel...
I guess I had 200. I thought I had 100 hours at the time, but maybe I did have 200. I'm actually going to trust old me more, even though I just called myself a liar a second ago, because I probably had just looked at that number before I recorded this video from a few years ago in order to give the accurate number. Not that anyone's double checking what I'm saying in terms of my playtime. That'd be a weird thing to make up, but whatever the case, I guess I had 200 hours when I started the Ekenia campaign.
Comfortable, but not necessarily experienced with the current game version. A lot of those hours were before the big overhaul in the Marius update, and some of them were even before the big overhaul that came, I think, in 1.3. It was the big mana removal overhaul.
Oh, yes.
If you're a fan of this game or the
yeah, like old me actually was way better informed about so 2.0, the Marius update was the culture rework, and I think it was 1.3 that was the mana rework. So okay, yeah, so old me was way more on point about the history of Imperator Rome. That's kind of funny.
The troubled history of this game, you'll know what I'm talking about. But either way, let's go ahead and get started.
Right, so that's as far as I'm going to go. I could go through the whole video and comment on the way I talk about the game, but you can always just go back and watch the video yourself on my channel if you're interested in that. But I think it's just kind of fun to go back and see my original style of commentary and kind of compare with how I am now. I think I'm better than I was at the time, but let me know in the comments if you think I've degraded, if you miss squeaky-voiced, nervous misadventurer as opposed to squeaky-voiced confident misadventurer, which is me. Whatever the case, yeah, let me know what you think about my trajectory as a YouTuber, as a YouTube content creator. And yeah, overall, I just wanted to make this video to celebrate this channel reaching a milestone. My favorite number in real life is actually the number 5. So 500 is like a special version, like, it's like a multiplier by 100 of that. So it's a special number for me in that way as well. More even than like the number 100. I didn't do anything when I got 100 subscribers. I didn't really comment on it. I might have commented on it in one of my videos, but I didn't make a video about it the way that I'm doing here. But whatever the case, thank you all so much for watching this video, and just in general for watching my channel. It's been really an honor to make this content and to have folks check me out and be interested in what I have to do and what I have to say. And like I said earlier, I hope that I've done a good job at representing Imperator Rome to an audience, maybe of people that haven't really played it themselves or have only been kind of loosely interested in it. I think that something about the way I approach Imperator Rome is, I think many people, I don't want to generalize here, but I do think this game has largely appealed, in terms of the casual audience of this game, which I'm not necessarily a part of, have been people that want to play like a Rome simulator, like a ancient Rome, like conquering barbarians and fighting Carthage, which you can do in this game to be sure. But this game is much deeper than that, and the reason I like to play as nations with more obscure histories or interesting start positions, but not necessarily the big players of the time period, is I just really love history, and I love these alternative scenarios. Like, what if, the Achenian tribe took over Britain, right? That's what the Acheni campaign is basically about. What if, this or that? And really just kind of exploring these other places that don't really get a lot of spotlight in history fiction. So someday I may bite the bullet and try out a Rome campaign directly. I've been thinking about that for a long time, especially now that I feel quite good about my knowledge of the base game. I think what I'd want to do is play like a vanilla Imperator Rome campaign, but basically play like an ultra min-maxed version where I basically show off and kind of like, do a big display of just big brain power and play the Roman nation as efficiently as I can and just see how crazy we can get with that idea. Let me know in the comments. I'm asking for a lot of things in the comments, but let me know in the comments if you're interested in that sort of notion. I've been thinking about that for a while, but whatever the case, I may do that in conjunction with my Imperator Rome tutorial series, which is ongoing. But whatever the case, thank you all so much for watching this video. I've really, really enjoyed kind of a trip down memory lane with this channel and with my previous channels. And again, if you remember any of those channels, let me know. I'd be curious to see if there's any quiet cartographer enjoyers lurking in my audience. But yeah, I hope that we will continue to have an amazing time with this content and with YouTube. I'm sure that we will, even if every person that watches me unsubscribes and loses interest in me for whatever reason. I'm going to continue making this content that I care about, that can be proud of, and I'll continue to refine my abilities as an Imperator Rome content creator, as a mashup music maker and whatnot. I'm going to continue to give it my all, because at the end of the day, channels like Officially Devin or these other channels that I watched when I was younger, they meant a lot to me. They gave me something to really spend my time with when I had some free time. And, as somebody who has had mental health problems before, I've had anxiety and depression for many years, these channels are often a great source of comfort for me And I hope that if my content has even uplifted one person who's maybe dealing with struggles and is, not having the best day, if my goofy content where I, say weird things and play this game in a weird way has brightened somebody's day, then that's a win for me. I could have literally 0 subscribers and still feel proud of my work knowing that I've done that. And even if no one has had that experience, I've done that honestly for myself. I've overcome my own struggles with these issues in the last few years by turning to this channel as just a source of things to do, right? If I start to feel like I'm in a depressive cycle, work on the channel, work on something for the channel, work on music, right? Put that energy into something creative, and it really can just get my mind off things. And I'll continue to use this channel as an outlet like that, whether or not I have an audience. But because I do, I wanted to thank you all one more time and let you know that I'm going to be staying around here on YouTube. I'm not going anywhere. Even though I'm now a big shot with 500 subscribers, that's not going to change anything about me. I'm still just as real as I was when I first made the Akenia campaign. Hopefully my voice is a bit less screechy, but I guess we'll see when I listen to this video how that has turned out. Maybe I'm going to sound completely indistinguishable from Akenia 1 era misadventurer. But whatever the case, thank you all so much for watching this update video, and I'll see you all next time.